Entertainment is a relative thing with many forms and facets. There is a special kind of humor to be found among men who must learn to accept and live with disability. And from these grim conditions create entertainment for themselves. There is a special pleasure in the most important entertainment of all, a new and special kind of significance placed on the fundamentals of living. There is a special strength in the bonds that unite suffering men with those who are important to them. And there is a very special kind of therapy indeed in this form of enjoyment. Even a courageous man often needs more than his courage alone. Strong minds, strong spirits, strong determinations and resolutions, strong men can be strengthened even more by the quiet effects of love and devotion, patience, and the willingness to share whatever burdens must be borne. The battlefields where Americans fought are quiet now, but the traces of war still remain on the grounds and in the wards and in the halls of Walter Reed. But not only the tragic effects of war, deeds of valorous men, individual acts of heroism. These are part of war too, and they are part of the chronicle of Walter Reed that passes through the office of its commander, Major General Leonard D. Heaton.
Attention to orders. Headquarters, 8th United States Army, APO 301, 11 June 1953. General Orders number 561, Section 1. Award of the Distinguished Service Cross. By direction of the President, under the provisions of the Act of Congress approved 9 July 1918, and pursuant to authority in AR 645, the Distinguished Service Cross for extraordinary heroism in action is awarded in the name of the Commander-in-Chief, Far East, to Second Lieutenant Henry R. Walls, Jr., Infantry, United States Army. Lieutenant Walls, a member of an infantry company, distinguished himself by extraordinary heroism in action against the enemy in the vicinity of Ujjaini, Korea. On 16 April 1953, Lieutenant Walls led his support element through an artillery and mortar barrage to a point where a friendly patrol was involved in a firefight with a numerically superior hostile force. Upon reaching the scene, Lieutenant Walls immediately set up an effective base of fire and moved among his men, directing their fire and shouting words of encouragement. When a grenade wounded him so that it was impossible for him to walk, Lieutenant Walls crawled forward to a position from which he could exercise better control of his men. But he was again wounded by enemy burp gun fire and was rendered incapable of movement. When the hostile forces overran the area, Lieutenant Walls was soon to be dead, and enemy soldiers removed his pistol and personal possessions. When the battle turned and friendly reinforcements arrived, Lieutenant Walls was still unconscious, but regained consciousness and ordered the men to leave him until all other wounded had been evacuated. The extraordinary heroism exhibited by Lieutenant Walls on this occasion reflects great credit upon himself and is in keeping with the finest traditions of the military service. Entered the federal service from the District of Columbia by command of Lieutenant General Taylor, Paul D. Harkins, Brigadier General, Chief of Staff.
Lieutenant Walls, it's a great honor to award you the Distinguished Service Cross.
Bravery, like Lieutenant Walls, exists after the battle is over. And General Heaton, as Walter Reed's commander, sees a great deal of it.
Courage is a commodity we are very familiar with here at Walter Reed. It is not restricted to the battlefield. It is indeed found in great quantity among men who are struggling to regain their health and to readjust themselves to a normal life after the devastating effects of wounds or illness. We are doing everything within our power to recondition the soldier patients here to the full life they lived before they came to us at Walter Reed. But all our efforts would be fruitless without the courage and determination of the patients themselves, the willingness to work, to accept what must be accepted, and to smile in the face of adversity, a trait which so characterizes the American soldier.
The quality of courage is elusive. What is it, this stuff of which heroes are made? This hallmark of valor? This weapon with which battles are won and wars, and the nation is protected? What is it? Walter Reed's commander has suggested its principal component parts. the willingness to work hard to overcome handicap, to accept what must be accepted, to smile in the face of adversity, the qualities, in short, of the good American soldier, which endure after the guns of war are stilled, and the work of peace and readjustment begins at institutions like Walter Reed Army Medical Center. That is the story of the soldier patient in the Army's hospitals today. This is Sergeant Stuart Queen inviting you to be with us next week when we will give you another look at the big picture, your United States Army in action.
The Big Picture is a weekly television report to the nation on the activities of the Army at home and overseas. Produced by the Signal Corps Pictorial Center. Presented by the U.S. Army in cooperation with this station. You can be an important part of the big picture. You can proudly serve with the best equipped, the best trained, the best fighting team in the world today, the United States Army.